I'm Greg Jarrett. You're in the Strategy Room. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and a bipartisan group of lawmakers came out on Monday to support removing the Confederate flag near the state capitol. But critics say it's not that easy to remove the flag. Both state legislative chambers must vote 2/3 in support of that change. So once the media spotlight is gone, will lawmakers there still push for removal? With reaction now, political strategist David Mercer and Brad Blakeman. Good to see you both.
Thanks.
Brad, this has been debated for, it seems like 100 years. Did the shooting really elevate this now to a level in which people must be forced to address it there?
There's no question about it. And I say better late than never. It's about time that this symbol, what has become a symbol of hatred and division in America, be retired and put in its place, and that's in a museum. And other states are going to have to follow the lead of South Carolina, because their flags too have the symbol incorporated of the rebel flag inside their state flag. So it will not stop in South Carolina, but it'll begin there. And I think very shortly that symbol will be retired from the flagpoles of state houses.
The debate has been interesting, David. The Confederacy, among other things, fought for the perpetuation of slavery. And, it was heinous, atrocious, cruel. It was unconscionable. And in the minds of many people, that flag represents hatred. But the other people say, hey, wait a minute, no, it reflects heritage. You buy that?
For some, I do. We know that the mothers of those that were fallen soldiers in that war see the flag differently than those that parade around in hoods or as the Ku Klux Klan and so forth. But I think, as you had alluded to earlier in talk with Brad, that this was an inspiration. This flag was a symbol and inspiration to the killings in South Carolina. And because of that overshadowing history, I would agree, and I'd recommend one of the candidates, the GOP candidates, sign Brad up as an advisor, because they need to get out in front of this, as Haley has, and put the flag in a museum. It's a relic of the past, and let's put it where it belongs, and not pushing it in the faces and or using it as an inspiration to what we saw in South Carolina.
The horrible and gruesome shooting, Brad, may have given some an opportunity to elevate the debate. But others are outright blaming the flag itself. It's not really fair. 3 years ago, for example, 10 members of a white supremacist group were plotting a race war, sort of same thing, and that's Florida. And before that, a different group up in Boston wanted to incite a race war. Now, the Confederate flag was never debated there. And in fact, you can go all the way back to Helter Skelter, Charlie Manson and the Manson family in 1969, same sort of plot there. Is it really fair to connect the two?
Well, look, each incident should be taken on its own and what the motivation is, for sure. But one thing is indisputable, and that is that the Confederate flag is a symbol of hatred and division, a terrible time in our country where brother fought against brother, and the common denominator for that war was slavery. And that flag has become a symbol today of hatred and division, and therefore it needs to be taken off public land and put in a place where it belongs. It's part of history, no doubt, and that's where people should learn about it. And it shouldn't be focused upon next to the American flag or below the American flag on state houses. And it needs to be removed and put in a museum in its place, let people learn about it, and remove that kind of temptation for it to be exploited in the future.
If I might add to that, the argument's been made. Let's preserve the Confederacy flag in the spirit of, or because of, states' rights. But we all know the Civil War, fighting for states' rights, meant for the right to enslave another people. So let's just we all understand that. It's now time to put it, as Brad said, in a museum.
Before the shooting, polling data indicated that a majority of white South Carolinians wanted to keep the flag, a majority of blacks did not. One wonders, will the shooting have changed that dynamic? And second of all, can it reach the level in both state houses, 2/3 votes to remove it?
I think it will, and adding to the poll that you mentioned, that where there's some division among the respective races, you now have companies like Walmart that have just announced today that they are going to no longer sell the Confederate flag in their stores.
Right.
So I think you're going to see other elements of the debate enter into it to guide us further to, again, putting this flag in a museum, which is not to destroy it, not to burn it, what have you, but to preserve it for history and what it means, what that history is to a whole host of people.
David and Brad, thanks very much. Tough subject, and we'll continue to follow it. Check out foxnews.com for more on this developing story. I'm Greg Jarrett. Thanks for watching.